I think we're all set and ready to go now. So, welcome to Tricks of the Ashtray channel. Today is the 23rd of September 2018, and on today's video, we're continuing with the myth of whiteness, part number 16. Now, this particular video is centered about putting the idea of white supremacy intelligence on the pedestal and seeing if it's going to stand up to the test. By now, you should know that the word white is not in reference to any color, because white is an absence of all color. That's why you begin a background painting with a white background, because it's an absence of all color. White in reference to human beings is from the Latin word albus, which means a lack of melanin. And that is one of the subjects that we're going to put on today's video. And if you have hidden all warning before you watch this video, I want you guys to understand one thing. When we talk about white supremacy, a lot of people, especially if you're white, that means anybody who has straight hair, irrespective of what the color of your skin looks like. A lot of people listening to these videos sometimes find it very uncomfortable. They might think that the videos that we're making, it's a personal attack on you. And I want you guys to understand something. If you're white, that means anybody that has straight hair, because scientifically that's what it means, that you have albinism. I want you guys to pay very special attention to my words and what I'm about to say. What we're talking about is not a personal attack on anybody, because unknown to people who have straight hair, that means you're an albino, white supremacy is killing white people or anybody who has straight hair first the most. The Vatican makes us believe that white supremacy is targeting blacks, but I want you to understand this concept. I want you to think very, very clearly. I'm going to give you a special example of what I'm saying right now. White supremacy is a gun, all right? And when you aim a gun at someone, you have to put a bullet inside that gun first. When the gun gets fired, the bullet has to be destroyed first before it reaches its target. When the bullet reaches its target, the target may survive. He may duck, she may duck, and you might miss it, but the bullet is destroyed. White supremacy is a gun. The bullets are the people used to fire that gun. That means if you label yourself white, you are the bullet for that gun. You're going to get destroyed first before you were used to destroy a black person. So a lot of people will think that, blacks are the ones who die first in the system of white supremacy, but it's not the case. It's white people or anybody who has straight hair that gets to die first. The blacks will still survive. Why is that the case? Because albinism came from blacks. The lesser is included in the greater. The lesser cannot kill the greater. So it's a futile attempt. So when you're listening to our videos, I want you to understand that white supremacy destroys white people first, or albinos, before it destroys blacks. And I want you guys to understand this, that white supremacy, because we use the name white supremacy, it doesn't mean that black people are, innocent of white supremacy. White supremacy is a word in which is a system which can be practiced by anybody, irrespective of their ethnicity. So it doesn't matter if you're black or you're white, you can practice white supremacy because you have to understand this. The reason why supremacy has been so successful is not been successful because it has so much strength. It's not so successful because it has so much intelligence, which we're going to put under scrutiny today. It's been successful because black people have made it successful. Because you have to understand that 4/5 of the world's population is black with woolly hair, and 1/5 of it is made of people who have straight hair, or albinos as we call them, which is now called white. The 4/5 have made it possible for white supremacy to succeed, directly or indirectly, because black people love it. And that's why it's been so successful. So if you're black, I don't want you to think that you have absolved from white supremacy because you're practicing it in one way or the other. And the practice of white supremacy means as long as anything you do is for the benefit of the white supremacist master, which reside in the Vatican, then all is well. You have to understand that. If you look at all the white establishments, organizations around the world, you find black people inside there. And they are the real brains, as we're going to show and prove today. So with that, let's get into this conversation, and let me tell you how it all started, that we have to end up on the myth of white supremacy, part number 16. Before I get into explaining how we have arrived at the myth of whiteness, part number 16, I hope that everybody out there who's white understands the words that I just said before they start watching this video, because I want you guys to understand that the leaders, the people running this world through the Vatican, who label themselves whites, who are actually the great grandsons of Genghis Khan, do not actually care about you. The white population is just a cannon fodder for them to stay in power and succeed. So I want you to understand that very, very clearly, because the white population, or the albinic population around the world, are the bullets that's making white supremacy to succeed, in that the guns are always locked and loaded and always firing. And like we've explained before, black people will survive through this. They may duck it, but it will destroy the albinic population first before it gets to the black population. So I hope you guys have understand that. If you've understood that so far, then we can continue on and start talking about how we arrived at the myth of white supremacy, part number 16.